Have you ever felt it? That sudden, inexplicable surge of fire that erupts from the deepest corners of your being, all because of something so trivial, so utterly insignificant. A fleeting glance from a stranger, a particular tone in a loved one's voice, a single word typed on a screen. On the surface, it's nothing, but inside you, a tempest is unleashed. Your chest constricts, a knot of pure, raw energy tightening until you can barely breathe. Your jaw clenches, a silent war being waged within. Your thoughts, once clear, begin to spiral into a chaotic vortex of old hurts and fresh anger, a dizzying descent into a place you swore you'd left behind. You whisper to yourself, a desperate plea to your own soul, don't react, stay calm, be the bigger person. But the words are hollow, lost in the roar of the storm. Before you can even grasp what's happening, the reaction has already claimed you. The words have been spoken, the door has been slammed, the message has been sent. And in the deafening silence that follows, a profound regret washes over you, leaving you stranded and wondering, why does this keep happening? Why do their actions hold the key to my peace? If this searing, soul-shaking experience resonates with you, know that you are not broken, and you are certainly not alone. This is a sign, a divine invitation to a deeper awakening. Like this video, so that this message may find others who are walking this path, and subscribe to begin the journey of transmuting these triggers into your greatest power. Share in the comments if you've ever felt this fire, so we can all know we are in this together. Why? Why can you not simply let these moments pass like clouds in the sky? Why does someone else's fleeting energy have the power to hijack your entire nervous system, to rewrite the frequency of your day in an instant? Why do their words, mere vibrations in the air, become the puppet strings that control the very heart of your emotions, even when your higher self knows, with absolute certainty, that they shouldn't? You've sought answers, haven't you? You've chased the self-help hacks, the quick fixes promising a fortress of emotional invincibility. You've practiced the breathing exercises, breathe in peace, breathe out chaos. You've tried to detach, to ignore, to build walls of indifference around your heart. You've meditated, hoping to float above the fray, to achieve a state of manufactured calm. But these are temporary shelters in a hurricane. They may hold for a moment, but inevitably, under the relentless pressure of life, they crumble. The fortress was never real. And the reason these strategies fail is because they are based on a fundamental misunderstanding of your divine nature. You believe the problem is out there, that the trigger is the other person. But the sacred truth, a truth echoed by the great spiritual cartographer of the soul, Carl Jung, is far more profound. He offered a brutal yet liberating answer. Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. This isn't just psychology, it's a universal law. The people who trigger you are not your enemies, they are messengers. They are sacred mirrors reflecting back to you a part of yourself that you have buried, denied, or disowned. They are not the source of your pain, they are merely the ones holding a lantern in the dark, illuminating a wound that has been festering in the shadows of your unconscious mind for far too long. Think of it this way. Most people don't want to do this deep, soul-excavating work. It's uncomfortable. They crave control, not understanding. They want a predictable, peaceful existence, one where they are immune to judgment, rejection, or attack. They want to numb the chaos, not integrate it. And so, they spend their entire lives rearranging the furniture on the deck of a sinking ship, believing that if they can just control the external world, the inner turmoil will cease. But you are not most people. The fact that you are here, listening to this, means your soul is yearning for something more than survival. It is ready for liberation. You are being called to understand that the anger, the frustration, the deep, aching hurt you feel is not caused by the other person. You are being triggered by something deep within you. It is the echo of an old story. This inner landscape that gets activated is what Jung called the shadow. It is the repository of every part of yourself that you were taught was unacceptable. It's the wildness you were told to tame, the sensitivity you were told was weakness, The anger you were told was unholy. The ambition you were told was selfish. You learned, perhaps in the tender years of your childhood, that to be loved and to be safe, you had to cut off these parts of yourself. You locked them away in the basement of your psyche, pretending they didn't exist. You then constructed a persona, a mask to show the world the nice one, the calm one, the strong one, the helpful one. You became an expert at suppressing the very essence of your wholeness. But the shadow does not die, it simply waits. And when you encounter someone in the world who is freely expressing the very trait you have disowned, the shadow erupts. That person touches a raw, exposed nerve, not because they are powerful, but because they have unknowingly stumbled upon the door to your psychic basement and thrown it wide open. This is the divine mechanism of projection. You don't get angry when someone insults a part of you that you've fully accepted and integrated. If someone calls you disorganized and you know you are, you might simply laugh and agree. There is no charge, no emotional hook. The anger rises, the rage ignites, only when they hit something fragile, something unconscious, unclaimed, and unloved within you. Let's make this real. Perhaps they made you feel small with a dismissive comment. The rage you feel is not just about their words. It's a volcanic eruption of every time you were made to feel insignificant, a pain that has been accumulating since childhood. Your anger is not because they are wrong, but because a forgotten part of you still deeply, secretly believes you are small and unworthy. Maybe they ignored you in a conversation. Suddenly, the profound wound of being unseen, a wound you might have carried since you were a child, yearning for a parent's attention, flares up like a wildfire. It's not their fault. Their action was simply the spark that lit the fuse of your unprocessed memory. Their behavior is a signal, a divine alarm bell. Your anger is a sacred message, not a flaw in your character. The journey to emotional freedom, to what Jung called individuation, is not about suppressing this anger. It is about learning to translate its holy language. When that fire rises within you, you must stop. You must breathe, not to calm the fire, but to give yourself the space to listen to what it is trying to tell you. Ask yourself these sacred questions. What part of me did this moment just awaken? Where have I felt this exact feeling before in my life? Why did I need their validation so badly? Why did I feel the primal urge to defend myself, to prove my worth in that moment? When you begin to dig underneath the immediate reaction, you will always find a story. And most of the time, you will discover that the story isn't even about the person standing in front of you. You are not reacting to now, you are reacting to then. You are haunted by what Jung termed complexes, deeply ingrained emotional patterns created from your past. You are reacting to the parent who never truly heard you, to the friend who betrayed your trust, to the teacher who shamed your creativity, to the moment you learned that your silence was safer than your truth. And so now, as an adult, you defend, you shut down, you build walls, you burn bridges, all in a desperate, unconscious attempt to protect that young, a vulnerable part of you that was never allowed to feel safe in its authenticity. And here is the truth that will set you free, the truth that hurts the most before it heals the deepest. Most people, in their quest for peace, are actually seeking control. They want to control the world around them so that they never have to feel the chaos inside. But control isn't peace. Control is just anxiety wearing a more respectable mask. It is a constant, exhausting vigilance against the unpredictable nature of life. True, unshakable peace, the kind that becomes your very frequency, does not come from avoiding difficult people. It comes from lovingly confronting and integrating the part of you that reacts to them. When you understand this, your anger no longer owns you. It becomes information. It becomes your divine invitation to heal. So the next time someone bothers you, the next time that old familiar fire begins to rise, shift your perspective. Ask, what did they awaken inside me? What story am I telling myself in this moment? Because the ultimate truth is this: no one on this earth has the power to make you angry. They only have the power to show you where your healing still lives. You might think it's them. You obsess over their tone, their timing, the way they talk to you like you don't matter, the way they always interrupt, the way they make everything feel like a competition. But the spiritual alchemist, the one who is truly on the path of awakening, knows better. Jung said, "The meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed. You are not just being bothered, you are being mirrored. You are in a sacred chemical reaction." The reason certain people drive you to the brink of madness isn't because they are inherently evil, it's because they are reflecting something inside of you that you have not yet fully owned. Maybe you cannot stand their arrogance. Could it be because deep down, you were punished for your own confidence, and so you buried it, labeling it as a flaw? Now, when you see it in another, it feels like an affront to the small, compliant persona you built for your survival. Maybe you are profoundly irritated by people who talk too much. Is it possible that you were never allowed to speak freely, that your voice was silenced, and now their uninhibited expression triggers your own buried grief and rage? Perhaps people who seem emotionally detached get under your skin. Could it be because you are terrified of your own emotional dependence, a part of you that you've judged as weak and needy? The truth is brutal, but it is the key to your sovereignty. You are not reacting to them, you are reacting to the part of you that you see in them, the part you've disowned. This is what Jung meant by the shadow. It's the version of you that you were told was too much, too loud, too weak, too sensitive, too selfish, too needy. So you locked it away. You pretended it didn't exist. You built a persona that was its complete opposite, quiet, logical, helpful, accommodating. But the shadow doesn't die, it just hides. And when you meet someone who lives out the part you've buried, that suppressed energy rises as rage. This is why true emotional mastery, real spiritual power, has nothing to do with becoming untouchable. It is about becoming transparent to yourself. It is about having the courage to walk down into that basement and meet the parts of you that you have abandoned. Jung believed that the shadow wasn't something to destroy, it was something to integrate. Integration means this. It's when you stop splitting your identity. Stop being the nice one while burying your rage. Stop being the strong one while hiding your grief. Stop being the calm one while swallowing chaos. It means allowing the full, complete truth of who you are in all your light and all your darkness to take up space, not publicly, not performatively, but internally. It's when you no longer need the world to reflect your value because you have finally had the courage to see your own reflection. And when you do this, a miracle occurs. You don't flinch. You want to be unbothered? Start by meeting the version of yourself that you've been avoiding. The one who gets jealous, the one who wants validation, the one who feels small, insecure, reactive, rageful, afraid. And instead of judging it, you simply hold it, not fix it, not shame it, just hold it. This, Jung believed, was the birthplace of true selfhood. Wholeness is not achieved by cutting off a portion of one's being, he wrote, but by integration of the contraries. What makes you emotionally untouchable is not that you have no wounds, it's that your wounds no longer own you. Someone can mock you, but you've already made peace with your flaws. Someone can ignore you, but you no longer confuse attention with love. Someone can leave, but you don't collapse, because you never left yourself. Most people want emotional control. They want to never feel again, to shut it down, to be above it all. But that's not power, that's fear in a mask. Real emotional power is when you can feel everything without becoming it. You can feel anger but respond with clarity. You can feel triggered but stay grounded. You can feel misunderstood but no longer need to be explained. That's when you become untouchable, not because you're invincible, but because you're real, and reality doesn't flinch. So how do you get there? You stop asking, why are they like that? And you start asking, why does this still move me? Every trigger is a teacher. Every reaction is a map. Every moment of anger is a door. And on the other side, is the part of you that is waiting to be seen. People will always be people, some kind, some cruel, some healing, some toxic. But once you've met your shadow, no one else gets to use it against you. You own your story. You own your reactions. You own your boundaries. And when you do, you stop defending, you stop chasing, you stop explaining. You become still, like a mountain, unbothered by the wind. There's a moment when the world tries to provoke you, and you don't move. Not because you're passive, not because you're numb, but because you're finally free. That's the moment Jung was pointing toward. The moment you've moved beyond emotional survival and stepped into psychological sovereignty. Let's be clear. This isn't about indifference. It's not about becoming emotionless. It's about becoming centered in who you are, so that no one else can rewrite you with their noise. That's the power you've been chasing. And it doesn't come from avoiding triggers. It comes from disarming them. You're no longer angry because you don't outsource your identity anymore. They don't respond. You stay grounded. They mock you. You don't shrink. They forget you. You remember yourself. They misunderstand you. You stop trying to explain what's already whole. You don't react because you don't require anything from them. Jung said, "I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become." And when you choose to become whole, no one gets to define you again. Not by praise, not by insult, not by silence. You thought strength meant not reacting, that if you could just be calm enough, quiet enough, emotionally still enough, no one could get to you. But that's not peace. That's fear with good posture. Real peace is when someone lashes out at you and you stay rooted, not because you're numb, but because you see through it. You see their pain, you see your old wound, and you don't get pulled into either. That's the final realization. You're not here to defend yourself from the world. You're here to meet yourself through the world. What if the people who hurt you were never the enemy? What if the words that stung, the tones that pierced, the judgments that burned through your chest were all just mirrors, not of who you are, but of who you've forgotten to be? You thought the anger came from them, their ignorance, their coldness, their tone, but it wasn't them. It was your unconscious, pulling you back into the wound, again and again, until you finally looked at it, until you finally owned it. That's the paradox. You stop being triggered not when people get kinder, but when you stop borrowing your identity from their behavior. The moment you say, "I am not your perception of me. I am not your approval or rejection. I am not your silence or your praise." That's the moment you stop flinching, stop shrinking, stop over-explaining. That's the moment you come home.